hope you're enjoying this conference so far. At least the half I'm enjoying. And I've been around at the conference, well, pretty much in my career, but this one is really interesting, and I really like the speakers and their presentation we have managed to see so far. So even though it's 4:00 p.m. and usually in the conferences we get a little bit tired by this time, I am really fresh and looking forward to this panel. More in favor of this panel is the topic, because this is the topic I really enjoy and feel comfortable at. It's about using project management in education and academia, and this particular panel, of course, is about using PM² in academic life, in teaching, research, and all other university-related activities. We have really special panelists today with us. Some of them you have already had the chance to meet during the previous sessions. Some of them you will have the chance to meet later on. But let's start with a short introduction. Today with us we have Professor Mladen Redujkovic. Professor Redujkovic have already spoken at this conference, so you had the chance to listen to him. But in case you have missed that, Professor Redujkovic is at the moment head of international doctoral studies in project management at Alma Mater Europea University, and he is the member of European Academy of Science and Arts, who also supports Alma Mater Europea University. During his career, he has been holding a vast list of positions, and I will select just a few of them. I know Professor Mladen, correct me if I'm wrong, but say more than 15 years now. We've been working together in various bodies and institutions. He used to be professor and a dean at the Faculty of Civil Engineering at University of Zagreb. Now he's also guest professor, visiting professor at Guangzhou University of Science and Technology, unfortunately in Wuhan. So it's good that we are meeting Professor Redujkovic online, since he comes from Wuhan. Maybe he could give us more insights on that later on. He's actually still acting. He's a full president of Croatian Association for Project Management and one of the founders of the Southeast Network of Project Management Association. Now, the big part would be, and it would take me mostly 15 minutes to present what Professor Redujkovic has done on international level in International Project Management Association. So, Mladen, I will just point out a few of them. He's an honorary fellow of International Project Management Association. He has been a member of various boards, vice president of International Project Management Association, president of IPMA, and chair of the council of IPMA. So excuse me if I missed something, but I think those were the major highlights. And I would stop now because we need to have time for discussion, also not only presenting our panelists. Then we have Professor Marco Meneguzzo from University of Rome. He's a full professor in public administration, and he's also a director of master studies of innovation and management at that University of Rome Tor Vergata. He's also full professor of public management in Italian Switzerland University since 2002. And he's also a director of Politicket Management Public Master's Program. He is an experienced expert in business logistics, obviously in public administration and management in public sector and health management. He has done a lot of research programs, publications, and counseling and consulting in strategic planning in local governments, governance in general, public-private sector, partnership, etc. So Professor Marco, sorry if I missed something. This is the shortest presentation of yourself. Should I have missed something, please welcome when the floor is yours to add something you find important. Then our dear friend from Spain, Javier, Professor Javier Pajares, is the professor and researcher at the University of Valladolid, with a special focus, of course, on project management, but also on innovation management. He has industrial background, his PhD in industrial engineering, and by his studies, he's also in industrial engineering. His research and teaching focus recently is aiming towards project control and risk management, but also he pays special attention towards competencies of people and project management people in particular in digital revolution and digital revolution related projects. What is important regarding Javier is that he has participated in translation of the PM² to Spanish, and his knowledge of this area is definitely substantial, and I think he will contribute to this panel a great deal. At last, my name is Vladimir Obradovic, and I'm a professor of project management at several universities. Mainly, I teach at the University of Belgrade, but also together with Professor Redujkovic, I'm a member of the PhD program in Alma Mater in project management. Also, I helped developing master's program on project management in State University of Moscow. I'm president of Serbian Project Management Association and the regional coordinator for the PM² Alliance in Serbia. That's the shortest. I also took an active participation in localizing PM² methodology and the guide to Serbian. And today panel, as you can conclude obviously from the title, is about how we can take the advantage of PM² at academia, at educational institutions, at universities. What is the role? Do we need it? Why do we need it? How it can be of any help to us as professors, but also to students. So that's what we're gonna try to debate and come up with some conclusions today. So universities have two major areas of operation, of doing what they're founded for. It's teaching and research. So let's start first with the teaching part. And therefore, I would like to ask our panelists the first question. So how do you see the role of PM² in university syllabus and programs? Give us your view from the educator's point of view, from your standing point, but also try to put yourself in a student's shoes, in a student's perspective, and give us their opinion on that, how they see PM² and how does it fit in the courses and programs. So now the floor is yours. Who would like to start? Well, let's start with Professor Redujkovic in the way that I have presented all of you.
Thank you, Vladimir. I think that in the morning I already expressed myself, because I'm one who is not happy with the current status of relation between academia and project management. Basically, as I explained earlier, there are too many programs, too many universities without teaching young people about project management. And we noticed that today we have around 1/3 everything what is going around in the form of projects. So the question is, do we have something like 1/3 of our teaching dedicated somehow to the projects and the project management? That is obviously not the case, and we are much below that. So this is the first things I would like to express. I'm not happy with that. And another thing is that we have many methodologies, standards. The market is very active indeed. But I think that appearance of PM² was something different because we got, I would say that's my perspective, very simple and very useful methodology. And that was my first impression. Of course, going deeper, I noticed some advantages of PM², and that was the reason why I proposed to Alma Mater to include the part of, or the course about PM and that idea and everything to the master program. I can say, and it was already shown in the morning, that our first feedbacks are very positive. It's the students are very happy about simplicity, about the language, about how it is communicated, the concept, the most critical parts of like mindset, even artifacts. So overall, students' feedback is that the composition is very much appropriate for the. Not all of them have at the very first time in life that they are faced with project, because we have also part-time students. So both group, part-time and those who are junior, they are quite happy. And this is a PM² for us is excellent platform for teaching, but I explain not just traditional class, but rather working in the groups, putting some examples on the table, and in that way working a little bit differently comparing to traditional. I don't want to take more time because I had a chance in the morning to explain that, so I will stop here.
Thank you, Professor Redujkovic. Indeed, we had a chance to listen to your detailed presentation this morning, and for me it was very interesting to see especially some results you already get from the students' point of view, how they see this. I would now ask Professor Meneguzzo to give his view.
Okay, thanks and good afternoon to everybody. Thanks to colleague, Spanish colleague, the other colleague from Croatia, and you. Okay, I have double experience in terms of university program. That means I have the experience of University of Roma Tor Vergata, which means 45,000 students, is one of the Free State University in Roma, and the Faculty of Economics and Management. Is very relevant. I'm not an engineer. I have a strong background in management. And the second, my experience is the University of Italian Switzerland, which is one of 12 federal universities in Switzerland, both in the Faculty of Economics and Management. Okay, concerning project management in Italy, bachelor level, Faculty of Economics, we introduce project management and business planning, business plan as prerequisite for the students at bachelor level. So for us, and our idea is to extend this idea of project management like a basis for the students in the Faculty of Economics and Management. We want also to extend from other colleagues of other faculty at the University of Roma Tor Vergata. In engineer, no problem, but in the Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, Faculty of we call Art Science, which means Physics, Mathematics, and Chemistry, because for our point of view is important. Project management is a basis. It's a basis for people who want to start in working in public agencies, in the private enterprises, and in, for instance, no-profit sector. So I think project management could be joined with business planning, a pillar for bachelor program. It depends which kind of project. We share the same idea with my colleague in Switzerland, and also we introduce in bachelor program, Faculty of Economics, and master program, project management, not like a course, but like we call interdisciplinary activities based on case studies, based on field projects. This is in university program, bachelor 3 +2 master program in experience in Faculty of Economics and Management. But we have another, we think, in Roma and experience, because we launch a lot of, we have a free executive master program in my area, which is public management, no-profit, and sustainability and sustainable development goals. Also in this case, we have a interdisciplinary course based on project management, in most cases related to the structural funds for European Union and also for projects at level of European Union. So I think project management is relevant also for executive master program and lifelong learning, which means we have a lot of public civil servant, public official. Just to have an idea, 400 people coming from central Italian public administration. We have a special, we have a course, 5-day courses, very short, based on project management and field. So I think 3 level, bachelor, master, executive, discussing Faculty of Economics and Management, not for the universe of the because when you mention university, what does it mean? Which faculty, which area, which specialization? But I think 3 level and a project management based on case study, based on field project, not only in terms of technique. My experience, my previous experience, I come from Bocconi University in Milano. Also in this, we have courses on project management, but also a lot of laboratory on project management, applying project management tools and techniques for project formulation, project implementation, monitoring and evaluation of European Union funds. Thanks.
Thank you, Marco. This is a really interesting insight, because we have one panelist, but insight from 2 universities. So thank you. Javier, please.
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to thank PM² Alliance for inviting me to participate in this panel. I'm very happy for this. Well, our experience teaching PM² is we teach PM² in the Master of Project Management in the University of Valladolid. This is a master program that was launched 16 years ago. So we have good experience about teaching project management. The lectures are in the Faculty of Engineering, but we have students coming from engineer, computer science, architects, and so on. So a very multidisciplinary students we have. Well, when we teach PM² methodology, we usually teach it at the end of the term. And in a subject, in a course that is related, is focused on the PM project management methodology, tools and methods. And so when we teach this, we teach PM², when the students see PM², they are competent in almost other methodologies in project management, like the PM². They know they have some experience in IPMA competence approach, PM², the ISO 21500. So they know project management. We don't need to teach them, to explain them what the word stakeholder means, or we don't need to explain them what is risk management. They know, more or less, they know a lot of methodologies and a lot of standards of project management. When we show them the methodology, they fall in love. They like very much the methodology, and they like very much because it's very simple, and it says then what they have to do, when they have to do, why. I think this morning Professor Redujkovic explained this when he was speaking. So they like very much. But what do they like the most? The artifacts. They love the artifacts. And when they see the artifacts, they use and use and use them. They cannot stop using the artifacts. So it's really curious. They like very much, they fall in love with the artifacts because they can see that they can write their project plans and they can do a lot of things just taking into account the artifacts of the PM² methodology. Of course, we usually encourage our students not to use a particular methodology like they were robots, but what we encourage them is to design their own methodology depending on the complexity of the project they are managing. So it's better than just using one methodology. So when we say that, the students usually incorporate a lot of ideas of PM² methodology in their portfolio of methodology. So and they can use it. Sometimes they say, well, I like very much the quality plan of PM², and they use it. But for instance, they want to focus also in the competencies of the project manager. So they mix different methodologies, and I think it's good. It's a good idea. They have to adapt. They have to design. If they are students of a master, this is not an undergraduate. In undergraduate, you just only learn how to apply methodologies. But if you are in a master program, you have to design your methodology depending on the complexity of your project. So they are very happy using the methodology. They understand it very well because they are competent in other methodologies, and even some of the students, they choose PM² for their master thesis, usually for building their project plans. Others for doing some research, or even I remember last year one student tried to develop a PM² extension for managing sport events. And well, this year we were going to validate the model in the Canal de Castilla cycle race. It's a cycle race of 200 kilometers around the Castilla Canal, which is a civil of the 19th century. It's a canal built in the 19th century. And we wanted to validate the model, but we couldn't because this year this competition has been cancelled because of the coronavirus. So just to resume, just to little abstract, students like very much the methodology, and students see a lot of possibility. Even some of our students, they work as consultants, and they say, this is what I need. This is what I need for my clients, because usually I live in Valladolid. In Valladolid is a medium-sized city in Spain, and we have small and medium-sized companies. 90% of the companies are medium or small size. We have, of course, we have a factory of Renault and Michelin, but most of the companies, so their clients, the clients of our students, are small companies. So in small companies, you need something concrete, something simple to explain, so that they could use it in a small company. And more or less, this is what I wanted to say about this.
Thank you, Javier. And if I may take the opportunity, since I'm chairing this panel, to conclude on this first thing, is that, of course, next to other methodologies, this one should be also presented and offered to students at universities. And we have basically two approaches there. We could hear that in a different phase from various panelists. One is as a part of the PM-oriented programs, whether it is master or undergrad, and as one subject or elective subject at schools that are not strictly connected to project management. The thing is that this is a free methodology supported by European Commission, open out there. And what we can also conclude from the panelists, if they put themselves in the shoes of students, is that it is simple to use, has all these artifacts and templates, and it's really applicable. So for them, based on their knowledge and intuition, it's easy to apply and use. So this would be the shortest regarding the previous discussions. Okay, so I will now combine my second question with the question that we had that has been posted on a Q&A as part of the portal, is actually a question regarding connection of research activities in the PM². So if you want to develop our methodology further on, we of course have to build on that and try to apply it. We heard from Professor Marco that it is used, for instance, in healthcare, in medical school, but we could also spread it in tourism, agriculture, digital projects. So some sort of research and development is also needed that is based on this methodology. So I would like to hear a brief opinion on that, and connecting to the question from the Q&A part, what are some intriguing research that you know of, or maybe some studies published regarding PM²? So in the same order or differently, maybe we should start with Professor Marco Meneguzzo now.
Okay, thanks for the floor. Just two consideration. Okay, in terms of linkage between field project and PM, we have two very interesting experiences. First experience, I was directly involved. I was part of the National Task Force for managing the Jubilee in Roma, which is between Italian government and state Città del Vaticano, which is, I imagine, in the with more or less we have 20 million of visitors. No relevant problem in terms of it was before COVID, obviously, but there was a very turbulent era due to terrorism, and we have to link the special force in Italian police force, 5 police corps, the police corps of Città del Vaticano, people, hospital network, emergency service, etc. Many volunteers, no profit organization, and we apply project management. We publish in Italian and in English this experience because we introduce project management also in terms we call interinstitutional project management. How to manage project from different public institutions, public agency, also public agencies in the field of security, is a very critical area, and apply to renew the project management and to read with different lens project management. This was a first experience. Now we won an European Union project, EPI, we call Transborder project, with 4 countries involved: Italy, your country, Javier, Pajares, Spain, Tunisia, Morocco, and also Palestine. With the project is called in the area of is called InnovaMed. You know, Mediterranean area is a very critical area. It's from many problems. Before was immigration, now there's a problem of pandemic and Mediterranean unemployment. The name of project is Empowerment Woman. Agri-food sector for woman empowerment. So use project management PM² approach for a new project spin-off, creation of social incubator, creation of micro enterprise. In this case, we think this project management we discuss in terms of research in university and in some spin-off we create in our university. Project management, I hope you understand my statement. Project management is very relevant more in terms of applied research with formulation and managing European Union or fund or other sources. For instance, in Italy, we have funding from community foundation, funding from international institution, funding from grant foundation, funding from private enterprises foundation. So there is a very relevant area in terms of formulation, implementation, and evaluation of big project, interinstitutional project. This is my point of view because I work, and the most promising area, the colleague before Javier discussed about sport management. Okay, I understand. I agree a lot with you but I think the most promising area now are healthcare sector. I think this is very relevant, and all the area we call job creation, micro enterprises, social enterprises is another relevant area. Thanks.
We cannot hear you, Vladimir.
Sorry. Thanks, Marco. Javier, please.
Yes, well, some of my colleagues in the university say that I belong to the church of the projectology because I try to convince them that they have to use project management, any kind of methodology of project management. They have to use it when they are doing research projects, because at the end this is a project. But sometimes I don't succeed. At least in Spain, many professors and scientists don't know very much about project management methodologies. This is because they are mainly scientists, medical doctors, architects, they are economists, and they are interested in economy, in architecture, and not many times in project management. They have a mind of scientific mind, and they only have contact with their areas of expertise. Sometimes if they have to write a proposal for a project financed by the Spanish ministry, or they have to write a proposal for the European call, they have to use a little bit of project management. At least they usually write a Gantt chart, or they just analyze the possible risk of the project, but no more. So they are not competent usually. They are not usually competent in project management. I think that PM² is an opportunity for introducing project management in research projects. I cannot imagine any of my colleagues reading a book of 1,000, 2,000 pages to learn project management. I cannot imagine them because of course they read big books of their areas of expertise, not project management. I do the same. the trick here is that my area of research is project management. This is the reason why I read these books. So I don't imagine them because they are concerned with their knowledge areas. But I can imagine, I really can imagine my colleagues reading 160 pages, which is, for instance, more or less the PM² guide, or even 36 pages, which is the synthesis of the guide translated into Spanish without the appendices. So I think it's an opportunity, and I'm trying to introduce project management methodologies around my colleagues by means of PM², and maybe that in the future I will succeed. And researchers will include the methodology when they manage their project. Indeed, I sometimes show, speaking with my colleagues, I usually show them the quick start leaflet. You can see in the pages of PM², in the web of PM², you can download the quick start leaflet. And also I show them the PM² swim lane. And they like very much, and they say, well, it's so simple that I will try. So I think we have here an opportunity because this methodology is simple enough that just by reading 36 pages, they can begin to introduce. The important is to introduce the methodology, just in small quantities, because when they begin to use PM², they realize that they live happier and their projects are running better. So when they see that, they try to use more and more and more methodology. So I think we have an opportunity, and as professors and people working for the university, we should try to convince our colleagues to use the methodology, and we have to promise them that it's so simple that they will succeed. Thank you. Vladimir, we cannot hear you.
Thank you, Javier. And Professor Redujkovic, Mladen, please.
Thank you. For sure, I would share the same position that we can use PM² methodology for managing research projects or for support in managing research projects. And there's no doubt, fully agree. But this is the easier part of the topic we are dealing. The more difficult is the part how to bring together PM² and research, because research itself is not just a solving problem. It's more about exploring the area of unknown, and this is more demanding. So I think that in a present form, we can consider a couple of options. One option for sure is how research or some research team can support the further development of PM², because we cannot stop here. We have to see in the future, or in another point of view, how to shape PM² for the future, or even project management for achieving success. Because at the moment we are not happy about performance. We are always saying poor performance, poor performance. This is a very complicated item, but from one perspective we can provide some support and contribute in seeing how to deal with that problem. On another hand, we can focus some specific parts for research which might be interesting. For example, blending, because we all agree that just a few people like using just one methodology. Most of practitioners, they are using some kind of blend of a couple of methodologies. So would be interesting for research, for example, to see some kind of blends of in blending it and see how does it stand, because at the moment we have some guess, but we don't know. Then in addition to my morning speech, it will be also interesting to see how to deal with complexity and simplicity, and how does the PM² fits in. Because at the moment we have a situation that everybody's happy, students, we are happy because it's rather user-friendly, simple, and so and so. But this is just the first step, first stage. We have to go to the next stage. And we have to see what will be in the next stage. So dealing with complexity is one of huge challenge in project management and for all project managers and team. So from that perspective, we can find a couple of interesting topics and then do some kind of study and see how does some results can fit in the future of PM². So briefly, that's my position at the moment. At my last slide in the morning presentation, I shared a couple of ideas about the future and PM², including research. My position is that in general about research, without research and studies, we don't have a future or bright future in profession. So I know project management is very practical, and practicality is very important. We have to shape it all the time because everything is changing. Just considering project goals, expectation, everything is changing day by day, and this is a room for research. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mladen. I'm in parallel reading also the questions from the audience. If I just may pick up where you stopped, I think that, of course, there, as we can also see from discussion on a chat, various approaches to PM research in general in various countries. But I think that what Alliance also brings along is the vast network. So should we establish some topics for research, I think those research could be multinational, covering many countries on a same research question, and then afterwards we could utilize, combine, jointly publish and everything, which would be much more appealing in terms of result, but also in terms of publishing. So that's also one of the maybe important conclusions. Okay, so let me now combine the questions I have prepared and what we see in also in questions and answers is apart from teaching and research, which are the main activities of the universities, almost all universities also applied for some sort of funded projects, EU funded projects, UN funded projects. Different kind of donors provide assets, and universities apply, or schools within the universities apply for those various projects. So the question would be, how do you see PM² fitting into these grant schemes, regardless whether they are EU or national or some other grant schemes, and could be, and in what way PM² used to help universities, project management offices to run their projects and become more efficient in that. And now I would start with Professor Javier, please.
Well, concerning the PM² for using the methodology in the grants funded by European Commission or by the national ministries, I remember that in 2018, when my colleagues in Spain began to hear about a methodology developed by the European Commission, many of them thought that in the medium term, it was going to be compulsory, at least recommended, to use the methodology for writing the proposal and for managing the project, all the projects funded by European institutions. If then after the funding of the European institutions, then usually, as it happens many times, the Spanish government in their research programs also will, in this case, will suggest to use the methodology. But this has not been the case. As far as I understand, it's not compulsory at all to use the methodology for doing the proposals, for managing the projects funded by the European Commission. You don't receive points, additional points, for using the PM² methodology. So the interest of many of my colleagues declined. But still, there are many others that still are very interested in the methodology for the reasons I said before. And well, I suppose that they will use it in the proposals, and they will use it for managing the projects, even if the European Commission don't give you points for using this. This is more or less the idea, the main idea.
Okay, thank you. Professor Mladen?
Actually, I can observe it from a very practical position. At the moment, we are, of course, we accepted PM² because we are sure it's relevant, it is important, and so and so. But on other hand, we are doing everything alone. One university, small university, is doing supporting itself within a university, but we may expect some action even, or some room that it will be open for support what we are doing. So we can produce even better materials, even different materials, which might be also available on an open base. Or we can even go a step more or above that. So I think we have something which is relevant and good, but now we have to think how to utilize that, how to use it, how to create the benefits for communities or even for society, not only within EU. And that's not possible if we are just alone. We are 4 here. Okay. I saw Vladimir before, but also we saw each other sometimes. But this is not the way. We have to form some kind of platform where we can work and do further developments regarding the universities, students, and so and so. And this is important job. And of course, that job claim for support. So I think that could be one support. Another could be support, if possible, like we spoke before, to put some options for research and some grants for that, considering that we should work like a network, because not one center should do everything what we are doing. It would be done together. So this is my also expectation, not impression. It's also my expectation that something will come from that side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mladen. If I remember well, we had a few weeks ago also one conference, Smarter Universities, about using project management in general in universities and forming special interest group on that. So I think this approach, PM², would fit perfectly into this action of developing and forming project management centers and offices in universities I think this methodology could really help with them. And at last, but by no means last, Professor Signore Marco, prego.
Okay, thanks, Vladimir. Okay, before I want to thanks to people of my team, Marco Amici and Federico Porcedda, because they work extensively in terms of cooperation with PM². So with the main, I think the main output of cooperation with PM². Now we are signing a relevant memorandum of interest with PM², my university, with different faculty and schools for introducing project management, not only in terms of university courses, but in terms of an extensive managerial education and training for our administrative staff. We have more or less 1,000 of administrative staff in my university.
That's really great.
And we think that project management in the day-by-day activity of administrative staff in the Faculty of Medicine, Chemistry, and also we have a special department, a special unit for fundraising, European funds, other funds, we call for mission activity and community service, introducing project management for project formulation and for project implementation. I think this is a relevant output of cooperation. We are strongly convinced that project management is useful not only for the student, not only for professor, but also for administrative staff in the university and PM². And the second I want to mention, this is my personal point of view, because project management is very relevant, because but you know is very relevant also other area. I think the managing the people. Well, so how to build a project team, how to define, select a project leader. So a strong interaction between PM² and we call the soft skills in terms of project formulation. We think is another relevant area. And the third perspective, and is area I work with other people of our team, government, civil society, how to link project management and project formulation with other with another relevant topics we call design thinking. So generating idea in the project, I think is very relevant because project management starts from idea. But the idea formulation, idea generation and design thinking, and also for my Spanish colleague, I work with some colleague of Instituto de Empresa in Madrid, a colleague in University of Salamanca in the term of integration, design thinking and project management, and the same in Portugal, the University of Lisboa, the University of Lisboa, ANOVA of Lisboa, I think is very relevant in terms of, you mentioned perspective. Managing, training the people administrative staff. Memorandum of interest at all the level. Integration, project management and soft skill. Integration, project management, design thinking.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear this great news that project staff will be university staff will be also trained on project management based on PM². I think it's a real example of good practice, and I hope that this practice would spread across other universities, first in Europe and later on even wider. So thank you for sharing that with us. We have a couple of minutes left more, and I would like to post one additional question that has been posted on a Q&A session from our dear friend Constantino Solis. And I will read that question. From my point of view, is not how to start teaching PM², but how to shift the teaching from well-supported and established methodologies like PM² and Prince2. This is basically according to my experience in Russian Academy, Greece, etc. So how to, say, okay, PMI is okay, Prince2 is okay, IPMA is okay, but we also want to teach PM². So let me pose this as the last question, and maybe with 1 or 2 sentences, sort of a closure. Why do you think the PM² should be taught next to or instead of these sort of mainstream methodologies? Professor Redujkovic.
From my point, it's open competition among those methodologies. So what we are doing, we are teaching all relevant international methodologies, and we are expecting that in the future our students, or I have to say also part-time students, so those people with experience or staff, they will find a way to blend it and then to create something which is the most suitable for certain project or certain situation. But nevertheless, PM² has some very, very competitive advantages. We mentioned it, and that's why I would say that we have to put also in our course programs PM² because of that. And the future, of course, will show if we are right or no. But I think we would be right if we continue to develop that methodology like we today discussed. So time is limited, so I will make a short answer.
Thank you, Mladen. Professor Meneguzzo? 2 sentences, prego. We don't hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I've not a formal statement on this topic. I prefer to let the floor to my Spanish colleague, because unfortunately I have to go because I have another meeting now approaching. Sorry, and thankful for inviting me.
Thank you. Very glad having you here. And I think we will continue working on this together. I'm especially interested in project management in healthcare you're working on. So I think we will in future have more time to discuss this. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Javier?
Yes, why to teach PM²? In the case of a master's degree, it's very easy. We are talking about 60 European credits, so it's a long time. And as an expert in project management, you're supposed to know all the methodologies when you finish your program, not only the methodologies that I have told before, but also, for instance, our students, we teach them the logical framework for international development projects. We have some practitioners, professionals from Renault, the car company, who collaborate with us, and they come to our lectures and they explain how they do the thing. So I think that PM² is necessary. It's necessary to have PM² because you need all the portfolio of methodologies. Because well, I really think that we have to adapt, or we have to pick up ideas from different methodologies in order to design our own methodology depending on the complexity of the project. So I think it's necessary to teach this methodology. And the second reason is because, well, in the case of, again, in Spain, because we are in Europe and we should know methodology developed by the European Commission. That's also.
Thank you, Javier. I would pick up from there. I also believe that, especially in master's program, if you have a master's program in project management, once the student have completed the program, they must be aware and acquainted and familiar with all of the important methodologies worldwide. Hence, the PM² methodology is inevitable in that program, because you cannot say you're a project management expert if you're not familiar with all the relevant methodologies. And I think that could be the good starting point. Let's introduce it next to other methodologies, and then later on, like Professor Redujkovic said, the competition is out there. So if the public sector, private sector recognize the benefits of the PM², it would just grow faster. 1701, thank you all for participating. Thank you, panelists, for giving your valuable contribution and spending your time to give us your opinions and ideas and sharing your experience and knowledge. Thank you to all the people that have attended, and the very vivid conversation on Q&As and chat. It helped us and helped me personally to run this session, to focus my questions on what's interesting and relevant to the audience. And I think we have a lot more topics about this, and that we will continue this discussion in future, hopefully next year, in some nice meeting, physical room where we can afterwards go for drinks. Thank you very much, and hope to see you all soon. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vladimir. Bye, everybody.